Hello and welcome to this episode of Manx Radio Newscast. I'm Christy DeHaven. On Manx Radio's Motorsport station this year, we've been having daily catch-ups on the TT Breakfast Show with Isle of Man Constabulary and various members of the Manx Care team. It's been a fascinating fortnight, learning about the additional demands and challenges on the services and learning how they cope with this time of year, when tens of thousands of visitors descend on our tiny island. On Wednesday of race week, I was joined in the studio once again by Inspector Paul Kemp for our daily chat, and also by Will Bellamy, head of Manx Care's ambulance services. Hearing about Will and his team's duties was interesting in itself, but when Paul's conversation turned to closed roads, it led to a revelatory chat about the ambulance service's unique approach to dealing with the closed roads, including crawling through tunnels, spray-painted golf courses and more. I am now delighted to welcome to the show Will Bellamy from the Isle of Man Ambulance Service. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's lovely to meet you and have you here.
Thank you. It's really nice to be back here at Manx Radio.
Yeah, it's good to see it. So how long have you been in the service for?
So I started in January 2022 following a career in the NHS ambulance services in the UK.
Yeah, and what is it like being here at this time of year then?
It's like nothing I've ever experienced before. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like I'm working in a big international festival, surrounded by lots of people that are enthusiastic, energetic, but also for delivering our core job of responding to people in their hour of need. Absolutely.
And we were just sort of saying off air there, you talk about sort of this international festival. You've met people from all over the world this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I was last couple of years met people from sort of the European Union, but this year being stopped by fellow ambulance colleagues from New Zealand, Australia, America that wanted pictures next to our ambulances, or as the Americans would say, they're very small ambulances, which has been really different. But again, the only thing I can compare it to is when I worked at the Olympics in London 2012, where we had a similar experience of, people from all over the world wanting to, if they were in the services, they wanted to get their photos next to the organisation that they're representing.
So London 2012, that's exciting.
A long time ago.
Yeah, that was a huge event, but so is this. I mean, this is a massive event. So, I mean, how do you plan? Because it's very different from a regular day in the ambulance service.
Yeah, absolutely. Our planning started right after the last TT finished, with staff feedback, multi-agency debriefs, understanding what went well, what learning from incidents we had, and what didn't go quite right. And over the last sort of 11 months, we've been just quietly plodding along, trying to understand how we can make it better, put in plans what we need to do, so understand what our demand was, where the demand was, at what time, and what was the demand, and then appropriately getting the vehicles to meet that demand, and then the staff on the vehicles to meet that demand. So it's been really, really interesting. We've had lots of different events this year, including supporting the fan park and the nighttime economy piece down on the prom, as well as being in all corners of the island to ensure that we're actually able to respond to patients.
So what are some of the changes that you've made then?
So some of the changes is probably that, on a normal day, outside of TT, we run 4 vehicles on the day, 3 overnight, and currently we have 10 vehicles on during the 24 hours, 4 vehicles on overnight, but also critical care cars, a helicopter, so our team will also respond in the air, bolstering our clinicians in the control room to support making that, those colleagues or those people that can't need to access the 999 service, but it's a complex health system. All healthcare is complex, but actually if they access 999, it's not inappropriate. It's we will help navigate and signpost them to the most appropriate place, and that might not be an ambulance response. It could be accessing the minor injuries unit at Ramsey, the pharmacies, the opticians, or some of the services based at Noble. So it's a real large sort of coordination event for us, but also a large amount of people doing sterling work in some really difficult and challenging times.
Well, absolutely. And of course, you work with so many different groups to kind of make this event happen. And when we were chatting off there, you were just saying how proud you are of everyone and how grateful you are to everyone.
Oh, absolutely. People are, we have a lot of staff come over and support us on the sort of a bank arrangement from the UK, but also this year we're supported by colleagues from the Isle of Wight and Guernsey, and some have never been to the island before, let alone that our vehicles are different, our policies are different, and actually our staff are supporting them by showcasing the island, showcasing how we work here on the Isle of Man. And it's really amazing to watch people and how they deal with the challenges of people from all over the world here, including working through the interpreter services to ensure that they can actually deliver healthcare appropriate to the patient, but also help meet their needs as well.
And with regards to your workloads, yourself and all of your colleagues this year, how is it sort of compared to previous years, or at least the two that you've been here?
So up until this morning, we've done over 500 events so far since pre-TT Classics event started down in the Bellamy circuit. We did just over 600 last year, so we look like we're going to go through that sort of event high last year. 2 years ago when I first started, we did over 700. So it's really busy, but again, we've planned for it, we've rehearsed it, we've worked across all of our partners to make sure that we're able to respond to patients. And I think one of my messages I really want to get out there, if you need us, please call for an ambulance. So don't wait until the TT is over, because we revert back to our normal manning levels, and if we get overwhelmed, we'll struggle. And I think that's why I really want to make sure that if people need us or need to access healthcare, we access it in a timely manner.
So do you think there might be members of the public who are thinking, I don't want to bother them because they're really busy?
I think everybody feels that it's a busy time of year for everybody, and they just want to, just keep themselves out of sight, out of mind. But actually, if you need us, we're here for you, and that goes for all the emergency services. We are here to help, and we plan for this, and we are there for you. You're not forgotten.
And the sort of care that you can give, I think, is really quite extraordinary, especially when we're talking about sort of the incidents with regards to TT. We were hearing how there was something of a first this year with a blood transfusion, wasn't there? Absolutely.
So, it's one of the unique things that we do here is we work with a lot of different agencies and different organisations, but stitched together to support patients in a way, that it's one seamless team. Although we wear different uniforms, we're all there, and we've been, rehearsing that through simulation over the weeks prior to the TT. But absolutely, it was the first that we did here on the island, and we had other times where we've flown patients directly off island to specialist care, whether that's via the rotary wing of the Great North Air Ambulance or our fixed wing aeroplane down at Ronald's Way. The team fly them out. You get exceptional international standard care here on the Isle of Man by the incredible clinicians we have working across, not just in ambulance, across Manx Care, and also our police colleagues, our fire service colleagues, who have all gone through training and continue to train to a high level, not to replace the ambulance service, but if they get there first, they can absolutely save your life.
Well, you do an extraordinary job, you really do. It makes me wonder what you actually think about this time of year, because, of course, there is the excitement, there's the atmosphere, there's the energy, but, of course, you have this very different side that you have to deal with.
Absolutely. And I think, what keeps me awake at night is how do I keep the people, the public, safe, and that's my number one priority. And the riders and the racing is supported by other medical organisations, but my primacy is to support all those members of the public, whether you're living elderly and living at home in Port Erin, or whether you're a Manxman or a Manx lady that wants to race their bike over the mountain. And we're here to support you and help you if you need us.
Oh, that's so lovely, Will. It's so lovely to meet you and chat about this. It really is. Well, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to play your song for you. You all right for a couple of minutes, Inspector Kemp? Okay, so we're going to play your song for you now. And and also, I should say, it's an important year for the ambulance service, isn't it, here on the island?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Isle of Man Ambulance Service is only just turning 30 years old. It turned its first birthday, well, it was created on the 1st of November in 1994, where they amalgamated the ambulance service in Douglas with the ambulance service at Ramsey Cottage. So the 1st of November 94, so it's our 30th year. We're going to celebrate it with an event later this year at the Governor's House. And that was a team of 50 odd people, and now we're a team of over 100, and we have some incredible people, not just clinicians. And I want to make the point that, my feeling of that, if you're a clinician, you're in front of patients, but also there's that team of people who support putting clinicians in front of those patients. And my operational support team, all the control room staff, my business managers, that are all doing incredible work to keep clinicians, vehicles on the road, vehicles to get to patients. They do an incredible job. And also they're the unrecognised, because you don't see them, but they're there. And I know for me and my colleagues across Manx Care, we're incredibly grateful for them.
As are we. Thank you all for what you do. Again, it always seems quite trivial when I say this, but by way of thanks, would you like a song?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, the song that I've picked was on Saturday morning as I was driving from Ramsey to Douglas. The sun was high in the sky. The island looked incredible, and this song was playing, so I thought I'd play it again because it's a nice sunny day today. Good choice.
Well, for Will, thank you so much for choosing this. It's Temper Trap and Sweet Disposition, and we'll be catching up with Inspector Paul Kemp after this one. Great choice of tune. Will Bellamy and all of the team at the ambulance service, thank you for what you do. If you just tuned in, we have Inspector Paul Kemp with us and Will Bellamy from the ambulance service. Paul, the big message for today, I think, has to be about closed roads. People are still going on them. So what actually constitutes being on a closed road?
A foot on a pavement.
Okay.
Something hanging over, so a selfie stick into the carriageway. Basically, any legs hanging over a hedge that's into the carriageway. It is literally as much as that, because it only takes, and we've all seen it. We saw one through Kurt Michael the other day. I can't remember who it was now. Somebody went through Kurt Michael, and literally they were up against where the old bank used to be, on the pavement. They collected a bit of extra road. Well, had somebody been sat on that wall with their legs hanging over, that would have been them taken out plus the rider. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, we can't predict what's going to happen with the riders as they're taking a bend or even coming down a straight. Bottom line is just stay back. Make sure you enjoy yourself, but do it safely.
I'm going to come back to you actually on this, Will Bellamy from the ambulance service, because this isn't just about visitors and pedestrians. The services can't go on the roads either.
No, it applies to us too. However, we have a very unique approach to how we deal with closed roads, and the way that we as the ambulance service do that. When we're in roads closed formation, we effectively split the island command team in two, with one half looking after sort of the rest of the island, and then anything inside of the course or anything that needs coordination to go across a crossing point or anything like that, that is coordinated from the race tower directly. So I have a member of the command team based in the command team, as do all the emergency services, and we'll liaise with the clerk of the course and all the dispatchers across that look after the marshals to get ambulances or response personnel across the course if needed to at an appropriate time. But if they're racing, we will it's only a significant event that we will need the race to be stopped to cross it. However, that said, we do have some really unique ways around the island. So the first, during racing, race week, we have our civilian helicopter call sign Alpha 99, which we staff with two of our colleagues who will fly to 909 calls and land in an appropriate position. Take Ramsey, for example, because trying to get to the other side of Ramsey, which is cut off by the race course, we have a ambulance response vehicle based at the bus station, so the crew will go to the White Bridge by sort of Albert Square, across the bridge, and then access a set of vehicle keys and then respond from that side of Ramsey in that response vehicle. If we're needing to get to Glen Alden, for example, the Ramsey Golf Course has a set of arrows spray painted on the green in blue, which directs the ambulance car to get around to get to Glen Alden. And you know, there's also unique ones around Kirkmichael that if we need to, if we can't get there in a particular way, there's a tunnel that we can crawl through to get from one side to the other.
You actually crawl through tunnels?
I've never known it to happen, but you know, we have all these things, and they're all documented within our event safety plan and operational orders, and our staff are briefed to them, and we as the command team will also help and support our colleagues to access these different ways to, you know, protect the public.
Incredible stuff. See, these are things that we just don't think about what our services have to do as well to adapt to this time of year when everything is closed for racing, which it will soon be in the next 30 minutes. Thank you so much, Inspector Paul Kemp and Will Bellamy from the Ambulance Service. Another fascinating chat.
Thank you for making it to the end of the Little Manx Radio newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you. Thank you for making it to the end of the Manx Radio newscast. You are obviously someone with exquisite taste. May I politely suggest you might want to subscribe to this and a wide range of Manx Radio podcasts at your favourite podcast provider, so our best bits will magically appear on your smartphone. Thank you.